I went on with my pal Mark Halperin on his Next Up show this morning. We taped it before I taped my show. Well, we're doing this live. And Halperin is everywhere. He does that show and he does Two Way and he's like, whatever. And apparently on his Two Way show today, and even in our interview, he raised this with me and I knew what he was talking about. But I want to tell you what happened. On Two Way, he said the following: everyone I know believes a major newspaper, one of the top 3 newspapers in the country, is about to publish a piece about President Trump's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Everyone I know knows that, and people in the White House know that too. When that story drops, if it drops today, and some people think it might, it could drive the day. Then he asks the following questions to Dan Turrentine and Sean Spicer. Either answer them or say, in fact, we don't know. How did Trump and Jeffrey Epstein meet? I don't know, they say. Did Trump ever go to Jeffrey Epstein's townhouse? Yes. It's not a townhouse, it's a mansion. How many times? I believe many. What occasions? One-on-one parties? What did he go for? I don't know. Okay. He's just asking these questions. It's fine. These guys don't know. I think I know the answers to a lot of these, and I answered them on Halperin's show. So if you want to hear my answers, you can tune in to Next Up. Not that I'm some expert on Epstein. I've just been neck deep in all of these reports over the past, couple of weeks for obvious reasons. But I can tell you, I don't know why we're afraid to say it's the Wall Street Journal. Maybe that will turn out to be untrue, but I've been told by multiple sources that the Journal's working on a piece on Trump and Epstein. And guys, there's no question in my mind that there's going to be a lot there because they knew each other for 15 years. They were actually close friends for 15 years prior to Epstein's troubles. And I'm sure they did spend a lot of time together. But what does that tell us? He spent a lot of time with a lot of luminaries, and they weren't all pedophiles, right? It's like a lot of them, some of them were women. It was the Dalai Lama was over at Epstein's house. Michael Wolff just told Vicky Ward that a couple of days ago, and we could go on. So it doesn't make Trump look bad, or it doesn't incriminate him in any way that he was friends with the guy. He's already admitted that. The question is, are you going to produce evidence that Trump took advantage of an underage girl? Now, if they're there, then we're talking a scandal. But honestly, if somebody's got that proof, we would have seen it by now, would we not?
Yeah. The Biden administration had access to all of these files, at least the Biden Justice Department did, whether or not the president or any of his people looked at it. The possibility that this information, this damning, incriminating information that would have devastated Donald Trump's future prospects as a politician, or perhaps even brought him under criminal suspicion, the likelihood that that would not have already come out years ago is unbelievably low. I just can't imagine it. We've seen leaks of absolutely everything else. We've seen legal trials that have been completely prosecuted on much thinner, less sensational grounds. We would have seen this already. So that doesn't seem to be what's hidden here or obscured anyways.
Right. E. Jean Carroll accused him of rape, which was a completely bullshit allegation. I don't believe one word that E. Jean Carroll said. But Trump is on camera with the, you can grab him by the P word and they let you get away with it when you're a celebrity. So it's like the fact that Trump might have had a handsy 40s and 50s, or even earlier than that, I don't know, is not going to come as a huge shock, Matt. But if there were proof that he had a thing for underage girls, you don't think we'd know that by now?
I think we would know that. I think the potential political damage of this story, and let's keep in mind the Wall Street Journal was not alone, but they were ahead of the pack mostly in writing about the Biden White House Operation Bubble Wrap cover-up for months and years. They did.
Wait,
really
is that
good
a
work.
real term, or are you just saying that? Because I love that.
No, that was the term. That was the term among both the Journal and the New York Times reporting about the handlers.
I must have forgotten that.
Joe Biden.
That's awesome.
We talked about it on this show. They used Operation Bubble Wrap to describe the Dr. Jill Biden kind of initiative. And maybe we'll even talk about that later on in the episode. Who knows? But so anyways, Wall Street Journal does good reporting, period. But right now, I think the fact of the matter about the politics of this is that Trump is facing a political challenge, the likes of which he hasn't really seen in a good while, which is that some people in his base are like, I don't know, dude. I don't like how you're handling this, or I don't like how your administration is handling this. And at a time when there's a lot of people who are more of the independent bent among people in media, conservative media, podcasts and Substack, who are dissatisfied with the level of disclosure so far in Epstein-related information from the Justice Department, having the story drop to remind you of what we already know on the record, is that he does have a relationship, as does a lot of people, including several people that all three of us know have like been to Epstein's island and or have had interactions with him, scientists and people like that. But the timing of that information at a time when there's these struggles between Pam Bondi and Dan Bongino, and when there are people who haven't gone full Charlie Kirk, in that they haven't gotten a call from the president and said, okay, I'll stop talking about it. People are still talking about it on the right.
Well, Charlie is too. He had that one day of like, I'm not doing it. And then the next 2 days, his shows have been heavily
good on
Epstein.
Charlie, which is not something that I say every single day. But Trump just went out and called those people on the right and within MAGA who are talking about it still, he called them a bunch of losers. He said he's lost
bad
respect
people who are weaklings.
Weaklings, and that they're working for the fake news, and that this is all like a fake news plot or a liberal democratic plot that you fell for. It's a hoax, and etc. It's going to be really interesting against that backdrop to see what those people do. You have just been insulted by the president. I don't know, Megyn, if you know this, but sometimes Donald Trump insults people in the media on the right.
It's a day ending in Y.
I mean,
look, I will say for the record, my advice to all those people who are on the right is you just keep doing your thing. Like you can't run a show that way, a journalistic outfit. You really can't run that way. President Trump will get mad at any journalist who is doing their job. And I don't forget the fake news. They got their own issues. But I mean, honest reporters who actually like Trump and are fair to Trump. And you just, it's part of being a journalist. You are disliked more than you're liked. And that's just the way it goes if you're doing your job right.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me, though, without having seen the Wall Street Journal reporting or the reporting from whomever it is going to be publishing this story, there's no possibility that we would be talking about this or that this story would be coming out if there was not this profound mishandling of the disclosures related to the Epstein investigation.
Yeah.
Like, everything about this has gone badly for the administration. The messaging around it has been absolutely terrible. Like, someone should absolutely lose their job over it. Whether or not it happens this week or a couple of weeks from now is the only question, I suppose, that actually ought to be seriously entertained. But they mishandled this. Like, one doesn't have to believe any sort of conspiracy theories to look at the situation, to raise an eyebrow and say, what on earth is going on over there? Who is responsible for actually talking to the public?
When I think about, like, I don't know what they have. Is it a picture of Trump with like a young girl? Like, it's not going to be with some, really young girl, but let's say like as a 17-year-old girl. If that had come out, if they have that and that comes out, on any other day, it'd be like, all right, whatever. Everybody knows that Trump was a bit of a playboy when he was younger. He's had multiple wives. He was a man about town when he was younger. And it wouldn't have been a total yawn, but it would have been mostly a yawn. Certainly his supporters would not have given two figs about that. But now would be a terrible time for that to drop because of the way this is all snowballed into like, why is he so adamant about not releasing another document? And then if they drop this story with that kind of thing now, it could potentially hurt him because now even his own supporters have been insulted for actually caring about child, issues, including potentially sexual abuse. And then you see that and you think, oh, how much is there in this lane? And why does that explain? I'll give you the last thought on that. Whoever wants to take it in the 30 seconds we have before a break.
Just to say that Trump has, over the last 10 years, successfully used insult comedy to kind of bring his base into line and into check, most famously, in my point of view, with the House Freedom Caucus, which started off as an antagonist, and then he whipped them into line by the end of 2017. Can he do that with his base of people who are independent in media? We are going to find out.
Since President Trump was sworn in, his administration has made enormous progress at a breakneck pace. But don't forget, while they're moving mountains for the good of the nation, you've got your own personal savings to worry about. And one of the best ways to look after your savings is through diversification, particularly with gold, like from Birch Gold Group. In the past 12 months, the value of gold has increased by 40%. OMG. Central banks continue to bolster demand for gold by buying in record quantities. Global instability and tension is high, and Birch Gold makes owning physical gold extremely easy. Easily convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold, or buy some to store in your home safe. Just text MK to the number 989898 and Birch Gold will send you a free info kit on gold. There's no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, take control of your savings today. Text MK to the number 989898. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.